Hello. Okay, so I had my evaluation with my preceptors today, so I was going to do a new review for the clinical skills since I have more information now. So the first question, how has my clinical experience and academic work in this phase prepared me for this assessment? What have I learned about myself and my abilities in phase 2? So my clinical experience, I first started out with a preceptor, and I did a couple births with her. One of them, she was not present for. She was late, and I caught the baby. I had called her. She was on the phone and giving me instruction. But that was only the second birth I had ever attended as an assist. And immediately after that, she let me go. Even though there was no complications, I didn't do anything wrong. But she told me she wouldn't be my preceptor anymore, and I think a lot of it had to do with she was afraid of getting in trouble. I don't know. But that was really hard for me emotionally. Very, very, very hard. It was my first catch, and it went beautifully, and it should have been a time of celebration. And, she never so much as thank you for getting there. So it was very hard. So after that, I went to a new placement, and I right away had several births and several opportunity to learn. And in about 3 months, I attended over 20 births. And during that time, it was at a group practice. There was 3 midwives, and one of them was fired, and one of them quit. So that was another huge transition for me. That was also very emotionally difficult. Grammy, you need to be quiet. But I got incredible experience, and during that time, I was able to really see that I was strong and that I was capable. I learned a lot during that time. Please stop. So after that, we got new midwives at the birth center, and one of the midwives that we got is a nurse midwife, and she'd never even had students before, and so me and the other student that were there at the time were her very first students, and so she was kind of learning along with us, and I've done an additional about 20 births with these new midwives, spread between them. One of them I've only done 3 with, and the other one I've done 8 with, and then the preceptor that I've had the longest, I've done the most with. So that's been a transition for sure. Okay, number 2. What skills do I have down cold? Are there skills I think I'm competent in, but my preceptor's report disagrees? So, my skills evaluation today with my preceptors. I do feel like it was fair, and I do feel like it was appropriate for their definitions of the standards. According to my conversations with Sarah and with Crystal, I do not agree with my preceptors' evaluations. I do feel competent in all the skills necessary to take the assessment. For sure. For sure, I do. There was a couple that I was really surprised of my preceptor's evaluation, what they graded my skill level at, but according to their evaluation or their interpretation of the standards, I think it aligns. So let's see if I can find an example. Okay, 3.57, dispense, furnish, or administer, however authorized to do so in your jurisdiction of practice, selected life-saving drugs. I have given Pitocin several times on several people perfectly. I've also administered antibiotics perfectly. I feel very confident doing IVs. I hardly ever mess up. I feel very confident doing blood draws. I hardly ever miss the vein. I was really surprised that they put unmet in that category. I think it was mostly because of the anticonvulsants, anti-malarials, anti-hypertensives, and antiretrovirals, because we don't use those, and even my C&M doesn't practice with those. We don't even have them in our billing, so maybe that's why. Let's see. 4.38, perform appropriate hand maneuvers for a vertex birth. They put developing, which I do actually think is appropriate for developing, although I have caught probably around 8 babies and didn't have a problem with any of them. So of all the ones that I've caught, it was competent. But I still have a lot more to practice, and I would like to get better at it, so developing seems appropriate. 4.44, manage a nuchal cord or arm at birth. They put developing, which I think is appropriate. I did manage a birth that had a nuchal arm and a nuchal cord, and it went perfectly, but again, that was only one time, so it makes sense that it would be developing. But according to the school standards, I would think that it would be competent. Let me see some others. Oh, on the first page they put on 1.39, document and interpret relative findings for services provided across all domains of competency. That's basically just charting, which my preceptors are they have very, very high standards for charting. And I feel like I do an incredible job with charting. I mean, it is. I've seen doctors' charts, and I've reviewed charts from other midwives that are transferred of cares or my own personal births, reviewing the chart, and what we're expected to perform at the birth center that I'm at is far above anything that they produce. So I feel like that is exemplary almost, but they put developing. But that's fine. It meets the standards that they wrote. In the letter, they feel that basically all students should be developing these skills, even at the point of graduation, where they feel like developing is still appropriate for students. And, even when you graduated midwife, the goal and the standard is that you can practice on your own. But several students that graduate and then are midwives, I mean, it's really not, in my opinion, it's not really wise to just, I graduated, I passed, and out on my own. I don't think that's wise. I think it's good to even graduate and still continue to work with a mentor, in my opinion. So anyways, I think the evaluation went well with my midwives. They are very supportive, and just sharing with you a little bit of my story in phase 2, I definitely have some abandonment and trust trauma. I was let go for not doing anything wrong. I had 2 midwives just leave. So I just have that fear of trusting, and one of the things that my preceptor told me in her evaluation, she wrote, you put a very high demand upon yourself to push forward before grasping concepts, and you're very task-oriented. Often you're not present in learning moments. I don't know that I agree with that. I do agree. I'm very task-oriented, and I do have a high demand, a high standard for myself. And part of that is the preceptors that I had, the one that was fired or let go originally, she had a very high standard, and she was... You were saying? She said... there were several times when she was upset with me and lashed out at us students that was inappropriate. And because of that, I feel like I have to earn my spot at the birth center. And so I do double what's asked of me, and I ask him once to explain something to me, and I don't ask him again because I expect that I should know it, and because that's how the other preceptor was. She didn't like when you asked her questions, and if you asked her the same question twice, she really didn't like it. And so I'm just having a hard time trusting my new preceptors and really trusting myself, just trying to take time in my learning. I put an incredible amount of hours into my education, in my homework, in my, I spend hours and hours at the birth center that, doing things to improve my skills or improve the business, because I feel like that, you need to stop. I feel like that is something that I have to do to earn my place. And so my preceptors were really good about, we're here, we're going to teach you, we're committed. It's okay to take your time. So I'm going to try really hard at doing that better. But I do feel like I'm an exemplary student. I mean, I spend hours and hours on homework and assignments, and I don't turn it in unless I feel like it's my absolute best work, because I want to be successful, and I have a very strong desire to learn the material, and not just move on because it's time to move on. So it was a little bit hurtful that she said my aim is to complete tasks in advance. I miss key information. That was hard to hear, and I don't agree with that, but I'm going to try hard to take what she says to heart and, prove to her that that's not the case with me and that I don't do that. I'm going to try really hard on that. That was hard to hear, but it's part of growth, right? Sometimes growth is hard, and growth is always hard, actually. So it's good. My other midwife, I asked her, preparing for the evaluation, I was like, okay, what can I do to prepare? And she's like, you don't need to prepare for anything. She's like, but, I want you to have an open mind and an open heart, and know that, we want to challenge you, and that this isn't supposed to be easy. And I was like, has any of this been easy? I didn't know it. It's kind of funny. It was like, this is going to go harder because it's been hard. It's kind of funny. But it's great. I'm really excited for it.
It's great.
Okay. Number 4. How's my professionalism? I feel very confident that I am professional. I'm also very open, and I feel like being honest with my clients is vital to building relationships. Part of the dynamic of having part of the dynamic of having multiple preceptors is multiple personalities. And I was with one client, and she asked a question about sex and, is this normal or is this appropriate? And my response was, yes, that's very normal. That happens to me too. And the midwife that I was with in that appointment was like shocked. She was like, I can't believe you said that. That was really inappropriate. That really made me uncomfortable. You shouldn't say things like that. And then another one of my midwives at this same practice is way more open and says, she offers information like that all the time with every client. And so it's kind of hard to find that, like, what does this person want, and what does this person want, and what's okay with this person, and what's not okay with this person. That has been hard with the group practice, but it's good growth for me, and I acknowledge that, and I'm glad to have that. So I feel like I'm very professional. Some people might say I'm too personal, but I'm working on that. Okay, what's my plan to prepare for the integrated skills assessment? This. Working with my midwives, Lori and Amanda and I are really good at keeping in touch and, asking questions to each other. And I love the live sessions with Sarah. I think they're very helpful. I love it. I've already started making flashcards and testing myself, and I'm already way ahead in my homework. I'm already working on May due dates for all my classes, and so I plan to have all of my homework done by middle of March, so then I can just spend a whole month studying just for the written exam and the skills. So that's my plan and my hope, and hopefully it will work out. Okay, last question. As I think about moving into phase 3, how ready am I to move? Oh, shoot. Are you still there? Okay, I think it was still recording. How ready am I to move to the next phase of my training? What am I looking for to help me move forward? I do feel ready. Yes, I do. I feel ready. I feel nervous and I feel scared, but I feel ready. And I think if I wasn't nervous and I wasn't scared, I wouldn't have a real idea of what it's like. So I do feel ready. And I feel confident, but I feel confident and nervous and scared at the same time. I don't know if that's possible or if that makes sense, but that's how I feel. I feel like I know what to do. I know how to handle things. I feel like I know what I know, and what I know well. But I'm still nervous. It's like the very first time I gave somebody an IV, the midwife, said, "Are you ready?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm not scared at all." But I was terrified. But it wasn't going to stop me from trying. And so it's kind of like that, fake it till you make it. I'm not faking my knowledge. I'm faking my confidence. I know it, and what I know well, and I know correctly, and I can do it. Whew, that was like a good little pep talk for me. Anyways, thank you, Sarah, for everything. I'm excited. Hopefully this will be a good review and what you're expecting.